me? Let's see. Oh, it's not like I had viewers anyway. And really, I guess I'm just like getting used to this and farming clips. I think that's what they call it. Footage, gameplay footage. I love the I love the Diablo franchises. I started playing Diablo 1. I think I came late to Diablo 1, but Diablo 1. Diablo 2, I loved. Played a lot of that from launch. I remember, shit, like 10 years ago now, when all the games, like I had burned out a couple computers playing WoW, and all the games that you bought were required online access only, or you had to have an internet connection to even install the game, except for the Diablo 1 battle chest. And every computer store I went into, there would always be one of these things kicking around. So I bought one, right? And I didn't have internet at the time. We had just lost our house. My mother was dying. I had all of her 14 cats in a new place, and her dogs, and my dogs, and life was a shit show. This is before I'd met my partner. You know, like I had left the city that I live in a couple, like 2 years prior, maybe a year prior, to go out to the country to take care of my mom, because she was getting ill and she couldn't afford the bills on her own, and my little brother was, you know, not doing so good. So I moved out to the country. Oh, there's like a lot more. It gets fucking dark and messy. But so I go out. I'm living out in the country. Things are good for like the first 6 or 7 months. But they weren't, and I didn't really know what I was dealing with. My mom had hepatitis C. From the years of drug abuse. That's not what we're talking about right now, though. So prior, anyway, Mom had Hep C. She was doing everything she was supposed to do to live a clean and sober life, except her medication, her pain medication. It was a pretty high dose, so not really so, you know, but like legally on the straight and narrow. So Mom had this like daily ritual of walking out to the mailbox and getting the mail with the dogs, and it was like her daily thing. She would have her coffee and she would walk to the mailbox. This is what I thought it was her thing. In reality, it was a mask. She was masking the fact that she was farther in debt than she was letting on, And when Christmas time came around, she was she looked physically different. She was like getting very thin and gaunt, except fatter at the same time. Like her belly was distended. But I didn't know. I didn't. Like her weight and stuff had fluctuated my whole life. But I remember being concerned about it. But the real problem came Christmas Eve. We have my sister and my brother-in-law and my baby niece come down for Christmas. I've got my nephew there. It's a pretty full house, right? My sister wakes me up. Jamie, wake up. There's I think the house is on fire. I get up, I run downstairs to the fucking wood stove, and my mother had been like pulling logs in and out of the wood stove, causing a lot of smoke to blow back into the house. And it was like there was a baby upstairs at like right where that smoke was heading, you know. So I'm like, Mom, stop, I'll deal with it. And she looked at me and she had no idea who I was. And she told me to get the fuck away from her, get out of her house. I don't know you. Which, you know, like, cut me deep, but set off the alarm bells. So I go upstairs and I grab my sister and I'm like, Jessica, come here. At that point, it got worse. It got so much worse. She kept trying to do the thing with the logs, mumbling some crazy shit. I can't even remember what, but it was definitely alarming things that she was saying. And then she started to walk around with like a smoldering log in her hands. You know, which is throwing smoke like crazy. She's not communicating anything intelligible. She's got a wild look in her eyes. And I'm like, fuck. Okay, I grab the log out of her hands. Burns me. I put it on the concrete by the fireplace. I get punched. My mom was not a very big woman at the time. Never really a huge woman. But Mom grew up with... Mom had a hard life. Mama did pen time. She'd been in the penitentiary. Mom could swing, especially a sucker shot. Especially a sucker shot. So I get sucker shot in the face. I immediately shake my head and say, what the fuck? And grab her by her wrists. At which point she starts kicking me in the nuts, trying to scratch my eyes out, like, ah! I'm calling for my sister. I'm like, can you fucking do something? Like, I can't do anything. She's Mom, right? My sister's very little help at that point, which I don't blame her. Like, she just won't leave the house for herself. Right, so she keeps attacking me, and police get called. It's Christmas fucking Eve, and that was the beginning of the end of my mother's life. I don't know why I'm telling you guys this story, and I'm not telling it to fucking anybody. Maybe I'm just trauma dumping. Maybe it just helps. You know. Maybe it just helps. Anyway. Christmas morning comes after the police take her to the ambulance. The ambulance and the police come and take her to the hospital. They don't know what's wrong. You know, she displays lucidity the next day, and in Canada, and this really bothers me. If you can state your name and what day it is, and look clear-eyed, you know 6 hours previous, having damn near burnt your family down and physically assaulted your son, you're free to go from the hospital. Clearly, it's not their problem. This would be a trend through the last year of her life or so, of hospitals doing that exact thing, and it would get bad. It would never end fucking well. Anyway, mom comes home. I ruined Christmas, apparently. Whatever, I'll take it. She needs to think that it was me. It's me. That's okay. We do as my family does. We carry on eventually like nothing happened. And then one day we're driving into town, and she's driving, and I really have to pee, and we're going to a place where I can use the washroom. It's just up the road. It has been the main conversation for the last 15 minutes of the trip. And she starts driving past it, and I'm like, what are you doing? Just right there. I'll just jump out here. And she turns her head, looks me dead in the face, and I'm a fucking... she has no idea who I am. I'm a stranger. She attacks me again, starts screaming, get out of my car. I don't know you. And I'm like, where do you think we're going? She's like, I'm going to my friend's house. And I'm like, you don't have any friends on this street. We're going here. We're going to that place right there. So fast forward a couple more weeks. Mom's belly has blown up like a watermelon, like 2 watermelons actually. Sheriff knocks on our door. There's ice everywhere. Our neighbors, just a couple weeks previous, had the sheriff come to their house and seize their property. They were elderly people who thought they were dog breeders, but were really just dog hoarders. So they had fucking like 28 dogs, I think, and nowhere to put them. And we had like the big 2 acres of property, and I was like, okay, well, we'll watch your dogs for a week while you guys secure a place, right? Like an emergency place. They've got family. 2 of the dogs were pregnant. We didn't know that they were pregnant. So this 2 weeks turns into like a month, I think, all in. So now 14 cats, our 3 dogs, and their 28 dogs plus 2 small litters of puppies. So I don't know, like fucking like 40 dogs, 14 cats, and now the house is being our house is being foreclosed on too. We call these people up. They've got all the puppies. Oh, they take the puppies. Oh, no, they don't take the puppies. They take all the purebreds that they could. I have to find homes for like 10 dogs. And then they accidentally leave the puppies on a fucking in a box in the driveway while I'm trying to pack and move all my shit, because my mom had been going to get the mail, right? And that was her daily thing. She had over leveraged the house. I think it's called over mortgaged it. She wasn't paying the fucking mortgage is what it boiled down to. So they came and seized the house. It was only like $15,000 in arrears, right? So I tried to pay it. They didn't want to take the money. I gave $5,000 to 2 different mortgage people, and I tried to give 5 to one. They wouldn't take it. The other one only took $1,500 from me, and then called me back the next day and returned it and said, sorry, there's nothing, I can't take your money. So I took that money and I rented the first place I could find. Mom's health was crashing while this was happening. I go to a slumlord that I know. I didn't want to, and I give him $5,000. I'm like, listen, the place that he had, it was ground level. I knew I needed ground level. She wouldn't be able to do stairs. It just needed the drywall done. He's finished. He said. I'm like, okay. I move some of my stuff in there. He has another place. He's like, can you just stay? It's way bigger, worth more than what I intended to pay. Way bigger place downtown. He says, can you stay in this one while I finish the work on this one? I'm like, sure. Like, I'm not gonna unpack. Right? He leaves me there. He doesn't fucking finish any of the work. I get a call, like, and I'm calling him all the time. I'm like, yo, what's going on? I can't have my mother in this place. There's stairs, blah, blah, blah. She only spends about 2 nights there anyway because she ends up in the hospital, like, immediately. But, this place, the neighbors break in and steal a bunch of my stuff, tools, my old Xboxes, shit like that, you know, like, nothing major, but just shit I wanted to keep. So I get a call from the police, and they're like, hey, I'm over here at blah, 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 so-and-so's place. He had this door locked with a dollar store lock. This padlock was a dollar store lock. I don't really think that who broke in is who he said broke in. But, there's nothing we can really do at this point. He says there's a bunch of tools missing. So I show up, I look. Just my stuff was gone through. All of his work tools and shit were the next room over, untouched. Well, apparently untouched. Like, I would have went right for the tools. I've been about that life before, like when I was younger and scummy. You go for the tools, you don't go for the iffy electronic. Anyway, pretty sure it was like just him doing it to get me mad at the neighbors, because he wanted the neighbors really bad, and I did some under the table eviction work from time to time. But I knew the people, right? So I wasn't going to do it. Anyway, I end up having to stay in this fucking place. It's downtown. I hated it there so much, but it wasn't that bad. So, where I'm down to 3 dogs at this point, still 14 fucking cats. I have my mom spend the first night there. And by 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm rushing her to the emergency room. And we get there, and she's like out of her mind again. She's got this thing called encephalitis, which is like poisons your blood or something. It makes you crazy. Like, I don't know. It seems kind of like a time machine. Like she would go crazy and go back to her childhood, like her teenage years. Anyway, so we get to the hospital, the emergency room. Mom's yelling and whatnot, and I'm sitting beside her bed, and I'm looking across the ER, and there's this great big dude, and I'm like, that looks. I go over, I say hi to my uncle, and I'm like, well, how did you guys know we were here? And he goes, what are you talking about? I just brought Grandma in. So at the time, my mother went to the ER for the final time. So did my grandmother. Like, crazy, right? Grandmother's brain cancer kicked off or whatever. She went blind. So she had to go to the ER. Mom's encephalitis, or liver failure or whatever, cirrhosis, it also went nuts at the same time. So I've got my mom and my grandma in the ER, both dying. And you know where they send them? They send them to the death floor. There's a death floor. There's a terminal floor, right? Where you're not going to get better floor. And they put them in the same fucking room across from each other. It sucked. They had to watch each other die. Well, Grandma could only see out of one eye, but she watched my mom waste away. And then my mom watched her mom do the same thing, and neither one of them could get up on their own. Mom took a long time to die. Cirrhosis is a hard death. So is brain cancer. Anyway, Mom would have these moments when she was completely lucid and would want to leave the hospital because she couldn't smoke and she couldn't eat shitty food and she couldn't surround herself with cats and stuff, right? Even though I was there every day and spending all my money on fucking fast food for her from the cantina. She didn't like the shit that the hospital served because she was on a no sodium diet. She would tell them that she wanted to go home, and then I found her. I went down. I was on my way to visit her. I drove past the bus stop, and I see her there standing at the bus stop in a fucking snowstorm, in a hospital gown, and that's it. Hospital gown and the little feety socks. Does that sound like a lucid decision? She did this like 4 more times. If she did make it to my house or my sister's house, it was a matter of hours before she was erupting from her. She had like a pipe in the side of her. And then it got worse. And every time she would get out, I would have to sign a do not resuscitate order. I signed like fucking 9 of those things. They kept losing them because it's a teaching hospital, so I don't know why they would lose them, but so many different doctors having me do these fucking things. Hang on a second. Hello?
Hey?
Hi.
So I'm in Canadian Tire looking for a part I need for work. But, you know, not a good place to look for a plumbing part. Anyways, they have a couple of fans on sale. Didn't know if you wanted one for the back room or not.
Sure. I'm actually streaming right now.
Are you?
Yes.
Like, you'd rather have, like, another one that stands, or would you rather have a desktop?
Well, I think it's gonna have to be a standy fan.
Yeah, okay. Like, it's a $2 difference.
Okay, stand-up fan for sure then, because there's no room to put it on a desktop in here.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't really sure if there was room to put it anywhere else, so...
No.
Okay.
No, you just caught me in the middle of the story of my mom's death.
Oh.
Yeah. So I needed a break anyway.
Like, literally?
Yeah, no, like, recording myself explaining how my mom deteriorated.
Oh. Yeah.
I'm content farming, I guess.
Okay.
It's not like, it is live, but it also saves the video so I can chop it down and...
Go back to it?
Yeah, if I want to have, I just want to get it recorded, you know. It's also helpful for me to record things because I can't remember shit for so long.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I will let you go back to it, and I will see you in a bit.
Alright, I love you.
We're gonna have to go to the garage to try and find fittings.
Fittings for what?
I need to go from like 5/8 to 1/2 inch, but it has to be threaded inside and on the outside of the bottom.
What?
Like
Explain it when you get home.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Okay, bye-bye. Love you.
Bye-bye. Love you. Alright. Sorry. Anyway. Then she ended up in, actually, after that, she started, wandering about the floors. So they put a little, tracker on her ankle, like a house arrest tracker. But my mom, the sneaky fucker, left it in the toilet, her room's bathroom, underneath the garbage can, so it looked like she was always in her room. I was like, yeah, of course you did. And then she kept getting lost around the hotel, or the hospital, sorry. Shortly after that, she ended up in the ICU. I came in and she had been sitting in her own filth for over an hour. Nurse sitting right there. You see, my mom had been on morphine for decades, right? And when she got to the hospital, they did not like how high her dose was, so they cut her from 180 milligrams twice a day to 2 milligrams of slow-release Dilaudid once a day. Anybody who knows that is torture. She's already dying. You took away food that tastes good. She can't be outside of the hospital. Like, she leaks. She's potentially biohazardous. And then you take away any comfort she hasn't put her through withdrawal on top of a slow, painful death from cirrhosis. So when they had me, they came to me for another fucking DNR after I had just finished wiping my mother's wiping my mother's ass and cleaning her up because they had left her like that. I fucking lost my shit. They took me into a little room and blah 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 blah, and then they asked me for a fucking another DNR, and they've got the entire hospital. I fucking snapped. I snapped. I was like screaming at them. Like I was pretty close to physical violence. But still want to do the physical violence actually. Anyway, my sister was there. She helped me calm down. I eventually just said, "You fucking answer their questions," because I gotta leave the room. I spent so much time with her, dying slow from Hep C as the basis. Hep C was the basis of it. Hep C caused the liver damage, or weakened her liver, which made it susceptible, or more susceptible to damage. Blah blah blah. Mom didn't drink. Like it was just drug related. Yeah. It sucked. It really sucked. And then, you know, when it rains, it pours. So we lost our house. She started to die hard. And then my grandfather pulls in to the hospital with my grandmother, and he looks like a skeleton. And this man was like 6'5", fucking 250 his whole life. And now he's a skeleton. He's a 150-pound skeleton. So Grandpa dies. And then I run into my son's mom. And she tells me that she's got cancer, ovarian cancer, but she's beat it and she's just there for follow-up. And then my grandmother dies. Cancer too. Another grand. So that's down 2 grandparents, a grandmother, a mom, and now the mother of my son. Within 4 months of each other. Yeah. I got through that without relapsing. A big part of that was meeting my partner, Christy. She says it was just my strength. I was close, you know. one life ends, or 4 lives end, and my new one began. My nephew, Cole, his mother, had a boyfriend, turned out to be a sex pest, and was getting out of jail, and she didn't want to break up with him. So I said, well, you know that the government will take your child away if you willingly put him in harm's way like that. How about I take my nephew and you say your goodbyes to your boyfriend, okay? Get your fucking head on straight, and then Cole will come back home at the end of summer. Cole never went home. That makes me happy. Him too. Christy had a son named Dom. Fucking adorable boy. Adorable. Little mop head. Took everything you said as, like, right to heart. He could not differentiate tone. He didn't understand sarcasm. And he was super excitable, and he gave the best little dude hugs in the world. So we all moved in together. Me, Cole, Dom, and Christy. And it was great. For years it was great. And then I started bouncing at a strip club. And things stayed great for a little while. And then on New Year's Eve, ran around and I did a little bump. Did a little sneaky treat, you know? And we had an open style relationship, so I was also allowed to fuck around a little bit. Preferably it was a together thing, but, you know. Anyway, I fucked up. And fucked up some more. And then I fucked up some more. And that little sneaky treat on New Year's turned into losing my family, losing my job, losing my friends, losing everything I own, and getting addicted to fentanyl. Because if you can convince yourself that you deserve just one little bump, and you've been through whatever you've been through, everybody's been through something, and you went through it sober, and you were strong enough and you got through it, odds are all of that repressed trauma is gonna be there to help you make the second bad decision, and then another bad decision. So, is it worth it? No, it's not worth it. Is it gonna happen? Probably. Probably gonna happen. You know. I got my shit together. I got back with Christy. Got back with my family. Went to school. Got a new job. Convinced myself that I needed a little treat. Lost everything again. Got my shit together again. Got back with my family again. But now my stepson's exhibiting behavior that is very troubling. If you've lived the life I've lived, you see the signs and you worry. Dominic died of a fentanyl overdose at 16. 2 years ago, on Father's Day. I could never have a little treat again. Not with trauma like this. Because I don't deserve not to feel this. I never thought somebody who'd seen, like, but I seen that shit destroy lives. So why would he make that same mistake, right? He did some stupid boner moves. All teenage boys do. And he was hanging out with the wrong fucking crowd. Watch who your children hang out with. This was his best friend from public school. Like, we loved this kid. Eli was one of ours. But Eli didn't have anybody else. His father died, his mom abandoned him. Eli was on the street. The street takes you. And misery loves company. Eli probably didn't fucking encourage Dom to use. But Dom seen Eli use. So, curiosity killed the cat. Killed my cat. Killed my boy. And of course I blame myself. Maybe if I hadn't fucking taken that little bump on New Year's, I wouldn't have ended up where I am today. But you can't fucking do that. My boy was gonna go that day. Whether it was this, or by his own hand, or a fucking branch falling off one of the trees and caving his little head in. Something was going to take my son that day. There's more. It gets worse, but I need to stop for now. Don't give in.